We may be done with Unit 1, but that vocab's not going anywhere. It is not going to poof, disappear. Here's what you can expect today. I am going to give you something that's true. And probably what I'm going to give you is true has a vocabulary term from Unit 1 that we have to know and remember. I am also going to provide a diagram that I want you to put correct markings based on what I give you. And then we're going to write down what we just marked on our diagram. So again, here's the routine today. I'm going to give you something that's true. Everyone see the first given. We'll talk about that in a second. You got to know the symbols and the vocabulary. What the heck did that mean in Unit 1? Mark your diagram correctly. And then we're going to write what you marked mathematically right outside it. So here we go. Example 1. Let's start this off. Line segment AB, and then I got that little symbol there that we used in Unit 1. Got to know it. Okay? That vocabulary is not going anywhere. No matter how well or how poorly you think you did on the test, which are all graded, by the way. You can go on Aspen and see them. What did that symbol mean? And if you forgot, you forgot. It is what it is. I move on to the next person. All right, here we go. Quick reminder, what was that symbol right there? All right, not only do we need to know what it meant, but also what it means. Okay, let's start it off here. We'll find somebody. What did that symbol mean? Going deep, Simon, you remember? Thank you. That's all the word I wanted right there. That tells me those two line segments are perpendicular. That's what that symbol meant. All right, now do we remember what that word means? Because if you know what that word means, you can right now on that diagram put something. All right, so if you remember what that word means, go ahead, mark your diagram for me. You should be able to put a symbol somewhere on that diagram. Okay, what symbol and where are you putting it on the diagram? Because you remember what perpendicular meant. 8, what are we putting on there? Sure, what are we putting on? Where on the, yes, but where on the diagram? Go ahead. Angle B. Angle B should be getting a right angle symbol. Perfect, great work. Because you knew what perpendicular meant from Unit 1. I don't know what that means, I'm not putting that there. I may be guessing, maybe putting hash marks, arc marks, all incorrect. That's the only thing I can put on my diagram right now. Next thing now. Now I want you to put that in some organized thoughts, that it is a right angle. And the way we're going to do that is in 2 columns. A statement column, followed by, right next to it, a reason column. This is where we're going to organize all our true thoughts. And what I'm leading you guys into this unit, and this is when we start them, is what, and it's a huge part of our geometry, is proofs. Right? You may have had siblings who have taken geometry and heard of proofs, or friends, but this is where we start the proofs. What do I want you to write under the statements column? Anything you know is true. Anything you know is true. And the very first statement we're always going to write is what's been given to us. So the very first statement I know is true is AB is perpendicular to BC. And probably here will be the toughest part for many of you today. How do you know it's true? Okay, why is it true? Well, how do I know this statement's true? It was given to you. And that's exactly what I'm going to write in the reasons, given. So be prepared. That's what I always want written first. All right, now it's on you. What else is true about our diagram? Well, we just marked what at angle B. We also know, because we already marked it, angle B is, what did we just mark at angle B? Or that I can finish this statement. Angle B is 22. Simon, what do you know angle B is? 90 degrees. I'm going to write a right angle. All right. Angle B is a right angle. You will start seeing me shorthand some abbreviations up here. Whatever I abbreviate, you can abbreviate. You start doing your own abbreviations and I can't read them, that's no good. All right, so whatever I abbreviate, you can abbreviate. Like right, you can write the angle. Why now? All right, why? Sherrod told me, hey, put a right angle at B. How'd you know that? Right? How did you know that? How did you know to put a right angle symbol there? Because that's my reason. All right, why was a right angle symbol put there? 17, in your own words, Dylan, why was it put there? And what do you know about perpendicular? Ready? Perpendicular lines form. Wait, I don't like the way I wrote that. Perpendicular lines form right angles. There you go. You're showing me you know what perpendicular means. Okay, that's the gist of today. You're going to be given a true piece of information. Do you remember the vocabulary term? Mark it correctly on your diagram. Write it correctly in your statements, reasons now. All right? Somebody asked me first period right after we did this one, well, how many statements should I have? Depends on the problem. You guys should probably be writing no more than 4 tonight. But more than the given. All right, if you're just writing the given, we got problems. All right, you should at least be writing another one, if not maybe 3 or 4 total tonight. All right, of facts that you know are true. Questions here before we get to the next one? Identify the vocabulary term. What do I remember from Unit 1 about it? Let's go. Next one. Okay, so read what I've given to you. Look at your diagram and see if you can mark anything that is true appropriately. So I'll give you a minute. There's a key vocabulary term in number 2's given. Do you remember what it meant? And can you mark it appropriately on the diagram? That's where you need to start first. Can you mark the diagram correctly based on that given? And mistakes are fine today. Mistakes are fine. They're going to happen. All right, what are we marking on the diagram here for me? Get specific, because you know BD is the bisector. Ooh, there's that vocabulary term. What did that mean? Of angle ABC. What are you marking here? 5. Jared, what are you marking on your diagram?
Angle ABD and DBC are congruent.
Awesome. And the way I mark that, if you remember from Unit 1, I have arc marks there. Now, some of you, because this was a mistake that was made first period, I don't know if anybody put hash marks on A, B, and B. Rays can't be congruent. Also, what is getting bisected? The angle. The angle, right? So there should be no hash marks on here if the angle's getting bisected. Good work. Good work, Jared. Awesome. All right, now let's put that into our thoughts here. Statements. Reasons. First statement we automatically know is true. Every single problem is the given. BD is the bisector of angle ABC. That's given. Now I'm going to put down what Jared just provided with me. What should be my next? What is true now? My next statement. What did we just mark in the givens that I want to write mathematically in the statements now? What did I mark on my diagram that I want to write mathematically now in step 2? 7. Drew.
Angles.
Yep. Go ahead. Name the first one.
Angle ABD.
Yep. Is.
Congruent to angle.
Okay. Hold on. Right. I'm going to go slow here. Make sure we remember that symbol. Congruent to. Finish it.
Angle DBC.
DBC. Got it. All right. Now here's the tough part. Why? Why did Jared put congruent marks there? What did he know? Right? Why are these two congruent? What up here said they were going to be congruent? Talk to me here in your own words. Simon, why?
Because BD is the bisection.
You know what that word means. So what we're going to write down for this one is definition of a bisector. That's what a bisector does. Cuts it into two congruent parts. Last problem, I said maybe 3, maybe 4. This is one where I want a little bit more info now. Awesome. That's what I wanted you to get, that those two are congruent. There's something else I want you to get too. And the reason why I'm going to have you do this is because I know what's coming in the future. And you're going to have to write this down in the future. Yes, it cuts it into two congruent parts. What does it do to the whole angle? Cuts it in. What's a bisector do? Cuts the whole angle in half. I want that written down too. So let's pick one of the two. I'll go ABD. Angle ABD is equal to half of, finish it for me. Angle ABD is half of, give me the whole one now. 2. Hello, Bailey.
Angle ABC.
ABC, good work. If anybody's thinking, well, could I have also put in angle DBC here? Yeah, you could have. That would have been true. Or we could have added statement 4 and written that, but I don't want to go overkill here. And again, how do I know it's half? What up here told me we're going to take half the angle. What up here said we're going to take half of it. Let's go 12. Finley, what's good? Oh, not because they're congruent. What up here told me that I was going to cut that angle in half? Definition of a bisector, right? Hey, remember, bisector does 2 things. Cuts an angle into 2 congruent angles and cuts the whole angle in half. That's what a bisector does. So that's going to be the same reason. Definition. And hey, here you go. I only wrote it out the first time all out. You can write DEF. Definition of a bisector. Do not abbreviate bisector. BIS, and I'm like, what is that? This quick? All right, all good. Where we're going here, because we only got 2 more, and then you're going to practice. All right, kids, how about 3? 3 missing anything? I get, you have givens. You have a given there. What's it missing? Yeah, oh, so sad. I didn't provide a diagram. Make your own, please. All right, you can put M as a midpoint of AB. You can make that diagram. Okay, good diagram. Now mark it appropriately, right? Mark it appropriately. If you know N's the midpoint. Remember that term from the first unit. What's true then? What are you putting on your diagram first? Let me know what you're putting on your diagram. 7, Drew, back to you. What are you putting on there? Where?
In the middle of segment AM and MB.
There you go. I should have that. Perfect. All right, let's go to our statements now. There's not much else I can mark, or I can't mark anything else. First thing we know is true is what I gave you. And then what Drew just told us, I want to put right on my diagram. So AM, line segment, make sure we use the proper notation from unit 1. Line segment AM, congruent to line segment MB. Why? Why did Drew put those markings on there? What told him to put those markings on there? 1, 3. Jonathan, what told him to put the markings on? Again, got to go with what's provided. What vocabulary term popped up here that said, yeah, I should probably put those hash marks there? Oh, nothing said it was congruent. I need you to look back at the givens. What vocabulary term popped up in the given that said, hey, that these two are going to be equal. Midpoint. So I have now, instead of definition of bisector, I'm going to write definition of midpoint. Midpoint cuts a segment into two congruent parts and cuts the whole segment in half. So yes, I want another statement that says, all right, let's pick one of the two right now. I'll pick MB. MB is equal to, I don't want AM again, I already wrote that. Half of, what's the full line segment it's half of? 15. Alexi? AB, yep. And that will also be definition of a midpoint. And yes, could I add in a step 4 instead of MB, write AM, definition of a midpoint? Yeah, you could have. All right, anything, because this last one's a little unique. All right, take a look. This is a unique one because there's no cute vocabulary term in the given, right? I had perpendicular in number 1, I had bisector in number 2, and I had midpoint in number 3. There's no cute vocabulary word in the given, right? Intersects is not a vocabulary term we've gone over. All right. All right, well, it looks like you're going to have to find something out yourself then. Looking at that diagram and what we did in Unit 1, is there anything you know is true here? Or maybe you come up with the vocabulary term for me now. All right? I didn't provide it for you in the givens. What is true based on how that diagram looks? There should be at least, we're going to write at least 2 things here. 2 true statements after the givens. So think about Unit 1. Is there anything that you know is true? Anybody? Hey, is the word midpoint up there? No. Is the word bisects up there? No. So there's no hash marks going on here, guys. And you can't cut a line in half anyway. So don't make up stuff here because you're getting desperate. Don't make up stuff. Those words aren't there. This is something that you have to come up with on your own. All right, instead of me calling on numbers here, anybody see anything here? Simon, what do you say? One thing.
WSI.
Oh, okay, everyone. I'm just going to go slow here. Everyone look at angle WSI. Everyone see that angle? Tell me something about it, Simon. And?
It equals angle ESR.
Yes, everyone see those 2 angles, WSI and ESR. He is 100% correct because that is a term. Those angles have a relationship from Unit 1. All right, I can confidently put arc marks on there because I know those 2 angles are, what did we call them from Unit 1 here? 21. Lauren, you remember what we called those? Spot you the first letter, V. Ends in vertical. There you go. Good, you caught on there. Vertical angles, yes. Opposite, the ones that are opposite, right, are vertical, and if they're vertical, they're congruent. So not only are those 2 are congruent, but those 2 are congruent because they're vertical. All right, so let's start there before we start throwing out all this information. Statements. And yeah, I'm expecting you to see that and mark it. All right, I'm not going to tell you they're vertical. We have to identify that on our own. So WR intersects IE. Given. Now tell me those angles are congruent. I don't want to, you do not have to tell me they're vertical. We know that already. I want to know they're congruent. What you marked on the diagram. So angle WSI congruent to ESR. And then, hey, in the same statement, I can do this. I'm going to put the other pair because they're going to have the same reason. All right, if you want to make a separate statement 3 and put the other pair vertical, that's up to you. It's correct. But I'm allowed to put it in the same statement because it's going to have the same reason. So WSE is congruent to ISR. Again, you want to put that in statement 3, that's fine. You're just going to have 2 reasons that are the same. Why are they congruent? Definition of vertical won't work here. Okay? Because the definition of vertical angles are 2 opposite angles. That doesn't say they're congruent. You probably don't remember this, but if you look back at your Unit 1 packet, we had this word written down, theorem. And we wrote something next to it when we did vertical. That's what I want here. I want the theorem about vertical angles. Vertical angles are what did we learn from Unit 1? If 2 angles are vertical, they're always what? Always, always, always 10, Henry? Good talk. 1, they're always what, Zoli? And what did we just write about them in the statement?
They're always that's equal.
Well, congruent's fine. Okay, vertical angles are congruent. If you see 2 angles are vertical, they're always congruent. All right, good work. So Simon helped us out there. I want more though. I want more. Okay, you got the vertical angles. There's other types up there though. I want to know another vocabulary term coming out of somebody's mouth here about another pair of angles up there. And you could do this multiple. What do you got, Alexa? Let's roll.
Angle ESR.
Okay, we'll stop. Everyone look at ESR. And what other angle you're going to pair with it?
And ISR.
ISR. Whoa, before he reveals the relationship, everyone see the 2. ESR, ISR. These 2 right here. They're not congruent. What word are you going to put in instead? Darn right, supplementary. All right, coming from Unit 1. So I can say ESR and angle ISR are supplementary. Could I also substitute in other pairs? Yeah. You know, ESR, WSE, WSE, WSI. I could have. All right, and can we make this longer and longer? Yeah, but I'm just going to stick with these 2. Why? How's Alexa know that, hey, those 2 are supplementary? Got something for me?
They both add together to make a straight line, which is 180 degrees.
I like it. It's a little bit more than I want to write down, but it's true, right? They put them together, they form a straight line. Straight lines equal 180. I am looking for a specific term from Unit 1, though, about those 2 angles that I can shorten that reason up. Anybody remember what type? I know they're supplementary. I know that. We wrote that down. Anybody remember why? These 2 are called. Keep going, Drew. Keep going. Put it together. They're adjacent and they're supplementary. We put those 2 together. We had a term for these 2 angles. 2 angles that are adjacent and supplementary. Had the word line in it. Go ahead, Dylan. Yeah. Linear pairs. And we wrote a theorem about it just like we did vertical angles. We wrote down linear pairs are. Finish it. Not congruent this time. If we know they're linear pairs, they are, and not adjacent. They are, Cormac, supplementary. And look, guys, honestly, get used to it. Anytime you write down 2 angles are supplementary, this is probably going to be your reason, because linear pairs are supplementary. All right, time for me to stop holding your hand and you guys to adventure off on your own. Before you do that, though, can you look at number 5 on the assignment tonight? Number 5. I just want to make sure, because this always happens every year. Everyone see what you're given for number 5? That H and M are supplementary angles. All right, well, then probably you should know what supplementary means, so you know what they add up to. Did I say anything about perpendicular in there? Anything? No. So I don't want you to write down any of those angles are right angles because it looks like it. That's never a good reason for us. All right, so don't write anything about right angles in number 5 because you think it looks like it based on the diagram. You only go based on the givens. If you want me to look at what you wrote down, I'll certainly come over and take a look. You should have at least 2 things written down. The given, at least another statement. Don't go past 4, though. All right, do not have just the given either. get something else out of it. Call me over if you want me to take a look at it.